So all of your TLs have just been given this template for a Trello board. So they will be able to use this, walk you through it. If you're in Carlos's group, he has one like this as well. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to walk you kind of through our flow, what our expectations are, and bring as much clarity to this as possible. So everything in green, this is what we need done at a minimum by your 5th day. So this is your production ready environment. Set up a database, deploy your staging environments. Domain name, which Lambda will pay for. Don't buy one on your own. We actually get a code for you to be able to use, that way you guys can get your domain names. Deploy your back end, your front end, test suite, all this stuff. Now, here's the thing. I can already see some of you are like, good God, we have a week to do all that. Yes, but no. When I mean like set up a database, I mean just pick one and have it be usable. Doesn't need to have anything in it. When I say deploy your front end, I mean literally just have it say, hello world. Back end, just have a single point that you can hit. So you can say like, congratulations, you made it, whatever it is, and have it be able to be rendered on your front end. So this does not require a ton of coding. It's just setting things up. So don't let anyone stress or have anxiety about it, because most of this you'll probably get done in like 2 days, if that. So what we'll do next. Yeah, no, for real, right, Cam? All right, so now, when we get this done, I'm going to walk you through the actual flow next, because I think that will also alleviate and make things a lot clearer for everyone as well. Let me first say we're going to do feature branches. Now, what I mean by that, in case no one has seen it before, because I know we used to teach it differently, this is my team's, when I was in labs, this is our Git repo. Notice how we would do like feature / Docker init, feature / info models. We didn't put our names on anything. We literally just walked through and said, all right, this is what a feature is, or up here, we're auditing, or here, we're doing docs, to say what the branch is supposed to be, and then a little comment on everything else, like more in detail. So when I'm saying a feature branch, this is what I want you to think about. Whether it literally says feature, you just put in the word contact modal or whatever it is that pertains to your specific app, that works. So don't be putting names on stuff or anything like that. That's going to cause confusion. Now, let me go back here. So let's say I'm going to handle auth0. Actually, let's just say authentication, and we're going to say for the back end. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to GitHub, and I'm going to make my feature branch. So let's just say there's only master, and then my new feature branch, authentication backend. Then I'm going to do a draft PR, and I'm going to start coding on my local machine, doing all my commits, all the stuff you're used to doing every day so far through Lambda school. And now when I'm like, okay, I think this authentication works and everything's looking good, I'm going to jump in here and move this card over to ready for review. Also, let's actually add my name to it, so that way everyone knows what I'm working on and we don't step on each other's toes. So when it's in ready for review, I'm going to grab somebody. So let's say I grab Jordan. Hey, Jordan, you're on my team. Real quick, can you do a quick code review? Now notice, nothing's deployed. Only on my machine I've been using it, and I pushed it to GitHub. Jordan's going to actually go on GitHub, go to my PR, look it over, and start to make like comments on everything. So it'll be like, all right, this looks good, or I don't understand this little block of code. Can you leave some comments to explain what's going on? Or I might just say, this is hot garbage, like fix it. Like whatever the critique is, leave messages, leave details, do real reviews. If you've never done a review before, your team lead has and can happily walk you through it. But essentially you go in here and you can do either approve, just comment, request changes, type in what you need to type in, and you can even go in right here to leave line by line details as well of what you need to talk about. So once you've done all that, then you're like, all right, Gannon, everything's looking good, my man. I'm not seeing any major issues. Let's move it on. We're going to go to ready for QA. Now, QA means I am going to deploy to my one of my staging environments. Now, I will explain what that is in just a moment. But essentially say, all right, cool. Now it's deployed, so it's viewable from the public. I'm going to grab someone else. So maybe I'm going to say, all right, Jasmine, can you QA this for me? So Jasmine's going to go to the place where I deployed it, and she's going to try to break it. like anything that she can do to mess with it, to play with it, to see if it's not working, that's going to be her focus. And if everything's good, awesome, I got to pass. If something breaks, she'll let me know, I'll go back and fix it, and then we'll come back and QA it again. Now, let's say if everything is good and I pass my QA, we're going to go ready for stakeholder. Now, that means you're going to call in someone like FJ. He's going to come, he's going to take a look at it, give his final approval, and then after all of that, you will merge it to master to deploy it. Seems like a lot more work, I know, but there's a reason for it. Now I can get into production-ready environments and staging environments. Now notice my key word. This is an environment. It is not a branch or anything like that. The reason why we're going to be doing this is because when you push code or you deploy code, as we all know, sometimes it breaks stuff. By pushing it to a staging environment, we're not going to harm the stuff that's already in production. Now, I know I've told a lot of you, we're not making capstone projects. We're making products that we want real people to actually use. Well, if you're working and you push code and all of a sudden production shatters, your users are going to notice that, and that's going to cause some major, major issues. And this is the practice that we do in the real world in industry as well. We have production and then a slew of staging environments that we get to push to test stuff out on. Now, this means that production and staging need to be exactly equal in every way, but completely separated. They can't touch. By that I mean, and I will give you a visual clue. In Heroku, you're going to have 3 separate Heroku instances. This is a real group I have that's in full time. In Power Conversations, this is their production level. They have staging 1 and they have staging 2. Now, what I mean is, remember, let me actually click into this, go to this deploy menu, and when you grabbed your feature branch, you're going to go, in this case, to Heroku, where it says deploy, and down here, you're going to literally click, like, all right, they only have this one up. You're going to click this, and you're going to manually deploy this branch only. So there's no automatic deployment. You have to manually go into Heroku or Netlify or whatever instance it is and manually say, focus on this branch I just made and deploy that. That's how you do QA. That's what this is right here. So a lot of people, they think I have to merge it into the staging branch on GitHub. No, that doesn't exist. You have your master branch and you have whatever feature branches that you and your teammates are working on, and that's all. You will be in your feature branch throughout this entire process until your stakeholder, like FJ, approves it, and then you can finally merge and deploy. Okay? Now I'm gonna go a little more into this as well, but let me go back to here. When I say an environment, I mean not just your backend has 3 instances, I mean every API has separate instances. I mean your front end has separate instances, everything, like boom. We have multiple here for our front end. We have multiple for our back end. It seems like that's gonna take a lot of time, but the reason is if you push code to your staging environment and it breaks, we want it to be separated because we don't want there to be any way it could somehow trickle in and shatter production, because that would ruin the entire point of all this. By keeping them separated, by having the exact same API, just a different API key code, the exact same deployment configurations on Heroku, but a separate Heroku instance, we can keep them separated in this way, but we know whatever we do to staging, we're gonna have the exact same effect in production. So if it works in staging, there's no possible logical way, in theory, this can harm production. And that's the whole point. So when you do this integration and you deploy it, your users will never notice anything until it's done. They just see new features that you've released and all this cool stuff. So right now, does anyone in Slack have any questions about anything that I've said thus far? Because I want to be able to go back over it if there is. Awesome, thank you, Ronnie. Lewis, I mean, I don't know, I'm still figuring that out myself. Maybe someday I'll learn. I am shocked there are not more questions right now. That means I'm actually getting this down right. All right, several people are typing. I suddenly have to hold my tongue. Oh, one thing I'll mention. The green ones are required by end of this week. The red ones are stretch. So these are not required, but we would ideally like to see them done before you finish labs. So, I mean, all this other stuff, you'll get this. You'll be invited in. Everything will be in here. Easy story. But these are just the only things that we want to get done first. Jonathan asking, should we delete the feature branch after it's merged? You can. I wouldn't recommend it because you might need to do something to that same feature in the future. So if you end up like, honestly, we should have, you can see how we had like 1,000 feature branches. We could have afforded to delete a few. I will leave that kind of to the team's discretion, your TL's discretion, based on how crazy things are getting with how many branches you have. But if you don't need to, I'd say leave it. And then let's see here. John is saying, why multiple staging environments instead of just one? Isn't it normal to have a single dev station, single instance? The reason why we're asking you to do two, and that's because of bottlenecks. So let me break this up. Let's say I have these two are ready for review and these two are ready for QA. I should just make it 3. The reason we want you to have more than one is right now, both of these are filling up one staging environment, and we can't move these guys over until one of these guys are done. So if you have only one, that can be a pretty significant bottleneck where you have to go through, do QA, do all this stuff. The whole team's on halt waiting on one, technically 2 people to do something. By doing 2 different instances, that frees up a little more time. And the reason why I'm saying you don't want to do 3 is because we kind of have like a diminishing marginal return at that point. And if you have 3 things ready for QA, you need to reprioritize getting things wrapped up at that point and just start knocking these back. So that's why I think 2 is right around the magic number. Some places do only have 1 for staging because they want extra levels of control, especially if they're in an industry that's a little more sensitive, like financial stuff. Others, they could have 10 staging environments. It all depends on what the company feels is right based on how their app is configured. So for this, we're saying just knock out 2. Alrighty. So when during the review /QA/stakeholder section should we be publishing that branch through Heroku/Netlify? So essentially when you're in progress, you're working on your local machine. Ready for review, it's only touching GitHub. Ready for QA, this is when you actually touch Heroku or Netlify or whatever. And that's where you go through that little thing where I walk you through, which I should start deleting these things, where when you're ready for QA, oh, that's production, I ain't touching that. You're gonna go in and start clicking through these things and do the manual deploy I showed you for whatever your exact feature branch is that you've been working on. All right, so good to go. Greg, you are correct. You would, like I say, if you want to keep your branches, that's fine. The only time I'd say delete them is if it becomes increasingly cumbersome, but most of the time I wouldn't delete them. And then if you want to test a PR, and you do, we can deploy to, all right, thank you, Lewis. And now, John, if we set up Circle CI, do we need to follow this layout? John, I cannot answer that because I'm not 100% familiar with Circle CI. So I don't want to give you an answer I'm not 100% confident on. Let me Google that later, and I can give you a direct message to answer that. And I'll even post it also to the main channel so everyone else can see that answer as well. Cool? Cool. All righty. And is there anyone else that has any questions? See a couple more people typing. I see several people typing. Awesome. All right, if we were pushing to a staging environment and it doesn't work, are we rolling back each time? All right, so when you're pushing to a staging environment, when you say read, when you say the word rollback, my mind goes to like connects and literally typing in the words rollback. I would say if you're pushing to staging and it straight just breaks, leave the staging environment, go, actually, let me go back to here. So let's say my authentication backend, I put it to QA, and just off the rip, it's not working. I'm like, great. I'm probably going to jump this right back to in progress and try to fix it on my machine first. If for whatever reason it's working on my machine, but it's not working when deployed, then I'm probably going to keep it here and try to figure out why. Because at that point, it's probably some sort of a DevOps issue and less of a pure code issue. At that point, call in your TL, call in whoever you need to help you debug that and get that knocked out as soon as possible. That would become a higher criteria because it's a potential bottleneck issue. And let's see here. Wilfred says, will the dev who created the PR be the one who will be deploying to staging? Yes, unless you are pairing with somebody else. So let's say, Wilfred, you and I are pairing on this authentication problem. I may have created it, I may have done a lot of work, and you're coming in, you're helping me out, fixing a couple of bugs. You know, if I'm gone, if I'm sick, if something happens, you can 100% deploy it and keep working on it. Because at the end of the day, all of us, we are either going to win as a team or fail as a team. Like, that's how Labs is now. Teams are teams. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, don't worry about putting names on stuff. Keep track of what you've done. You're going to want that for when you're doing one-on-ones with your TLs, everything like that. But they're on your team. They know who's working. They know who's not. They're looking at the Trello board as things are getting moved around. Like, they're going to see who has names on stuff and everything like that. So in terms of credit, don't stress it. Know what you've done and be able to articulate it. But at the end of the day, I don't care who pushes it. I just care that it gets done. That's right, Cam. Teamwork does make the dream work. And honestly, this is one of the things that sets Lambda apart. Most boot camps, a lot of places, yeah, you might be able to build some cool projects. You might learn the basic skills. But being able to show up with a resume, with a background, like, hey, I've worked on 2-3 build week projects, and I've done this massive labs project. That's a real product that people are using, and we have all this analytics on. This other team inherited it, and they're taking it to a higher level, so I know how to trade off code to other teams. Like, that's super high level. That's something you could actually go in on, and yeah, you'll knock out junior level positions. There's people that can get mid-level positions with this kind of a background, no joke. So the teamwork stuff, the dynamics, this communication is almost more important than the actual coding, because you can show this Trello board to an employer. They would love to see it. Like, oh, wow, this person, they know how to use this. They know how to communicate. Show them the GitHub account. Go through. Yeah, I did code reviews. I left real feedback and real comments. Like, that's what they want to see in the real world. So if you can demonstrate that you've done it on a real team for real product, that's real life experience. That's how you get a job. That's how you go to the next level. So I'm not telling you guys, hey, yeah, let's do this because it'll be cool and it's how it should be and this is a project. It's like, no, like, you're getting employed by following this process. The reason we're doing it, the reason we changed labs was because of the feedback our hiring partners gave us that they wanted to see. So we're like, all right, we got this. And we made the process that way. So, all right. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What other questions we got actually about this? Yes. All right. So again, your TLs will have access to this Trello board template. You'll be able to jump in, get started. And remember, by the end of this week, 3 things. Production ready environment, all this done. 2 staging environments, done. Your PVD, done. And 3 release canvases, done. If you need anything else, you need help or feedback or guidance, or I wasn't clear on anything, by all means, please let me know so I can increase my level of awareness, bring more clarity, not just to you, but to anyone else that's probably confused too. I'm always looking, like, feedback is a legitimate gift. I'm going to be dropping a link in a few minutes that will be a small Airtable. Yes, I can already see eyes rolling. Awesome. That will allow you to give me feedback on how this lecture went, how confident you're feeling, how I can make it better. I will listen to that feedback and do everything I can to take this to the next level, because I legitimately do care about what you guys have to say. So I'm not seeing any other, oh, I lied. Can you remind me object? Oh, great. Thank you, John. All right, everybody. That's all I got. I'll drop that Airtable link in a minute. Please, it's not really an optional thing. I really need you guys to fill it out so that way Lambda doesn't think I lied and just like, oh, yeah, I totally talked to those people. This will be the proof. I do my job. All right. Appreciate you all. Have fun today. Knock it out. Get some work done. We will talk again soon. Bye.